Yeah.
I'm here with Chad of Frozen Soul to talk about No Place of Warmth, out May 8th on Century Media Records. One of the hottest bands in the metal scene right now, always, ever, will always be. Frozen Soul kicking ass and taking names. What's happening, dude? You're looking phenomenal. The gym is treating you well.
I'm trying, man. I've been struggling, I'll tell you.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard, man. Like, touring so much, being so busy and trying to like stay good with my diet and whatnot, and not necessarily diet, but just like a specific diet, but just trying to eat better, when stress gets high. Like, I'm always like the type of guy that's like a eater, obviously. So it's like it's hard, and it's with losing weight and all that, staying fit, it's mostly diet, and whatnot. So when the diet goes bad, then it's harder to work in the gym. But we still go, me and Matt are in it pretty much every day. So uh, trying our best. So I appreciate you, man.
And I'm on the same path in my life right now. I go to the gym 6 days a week. I try to eat my the right amount of protein, have a somewhat of a healthier diet, and it's true what they say. You don't build a six pack in the gym, you build it in the kitchen.
No, yeah, you really do. Yeah, I was losing a ton of weight when I was being extremely strict, but like the problem with being extremely strict is like the second you're not, then it's hard to you fall off track. It's hard to get back on track again. So, I always just try and like, try and have a decent balance, but you just could do your best. That's all you could do.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was hoping to see you at the next tour run wearing some of those encased in ass shorts.
no,
I guess that's not happening anytime soon.
it's not gonna happen anytime soon. I don't
All
know. It'd
right,
be
well,
funny though.
one
Well,
one can dream.
the things people are doing for the internet nowadays. I guess maybe maybe I should. I don't know.
I think you would go viral with those on.
Yeah, probably forever and always. I'd have to live with that.
You're one of those bands that I talk to a lot of guys. I interview a lot of people on the channel, and I interview some people lately from like iconic bands like Napalm Death. I was with Shane in Oslo at Inferno,
Mm,
and the name of Frozen Soul always comes up. I was also talking to
mm,
John from Incantation. He brought up the name of Frozen Soul as a band who really cemented a place for them for yourselves and at the death metal table. When you look at bands who've been around for such a long time, giving you guys kudos for what you have achieved, first of all, how does that feel? And second, is that a case of hard work or just pure talent?
I mean, we've definitely like worked our asses off, but like, you know, both of those guys are absolutely like fantastic human beings. We've toured with Napalm Death, and we had the greatest time with those guys, and we hung out and talked, and it was just a great time. So wonderful guys. And Incantation is just such a legendary band, a band that we've looked up to forever. And like we started this band as a way to like play the music we love. We love the old school. Like that's the whole reason we exist, regardless of if we choose to like add a little bit more production or whatever. Like we're all I listen to is old music. Like I love it. We love it. So to even have any of the guys from the bands we love, support us in any way or just shake our hand in general is just awesome. It rules. And we've been like really lucky to meet so many that like we look up to, and they've all been awesome. Every one of them. So it feels great, man.
And speaking of meeting them, I'm you guys have some cameos on this record, so I guess you got to work with some of those legends that you've met along the way, like Rob from Machine Head, for example, just to name one.
Mm-hmm.
What was the idea behind these collaborations? Did you just really wanted to work with these people, or was there an opportunity for them to bring something to the table and add something to a song that you felt that perhaps needed that extra push?
Well, we never really like we've never done a feature where we're like we need this because of a push or something. It's always just been to like because we like doing fun stuff. Like collaborations are like fun and cool, and we typically only do them with our friends or people that we look up to in some way. For this record, we like, didn't want to go like overboard because we were kind of like this record was kind of rushed, honestly. Like we've been touring so much, we didn't have very much time to write. So a lot of the you know, I won't say a lot, but there's quite a few riffs on this record that we've had since Encased in Ice. Like we've had riffs from this record forever, and we just haven't been able to do anything with them, or had the time because the touring's been so crazy. So like, we were like working so hard, and with Josh, the producer for this record, like, you know, he really pushed us and like helped us kind of like hone in on things that we needed to like make the songs what we were truly always wanting them to be. And like, so we are pretty confident and happy with the songs as they were, but like, come on, we have to like throw some friends and stuff on the record. Like, it's just fun, you know? And yeah, like Rob, you know, we got to hang out with Rob when we were on tour with Killswitch Engage, and we've been friends with Gerard from Machine Head for a while. We've played shows that they've played, or he's come to our shows and we've partied and just had a good time. So like when him and Rob came to our show, you know, we were singing Killswitch Engage songs and just, you know, having a good time, and you know, brought it up to Rob about, you know, being on the song, and me and him had a long call and talked about the meaning behind the song, and found out we shared a lot of common, you know, interests as far as our family history and like loss and stuff. So like he really identified with the song, and you know, Rob is someone I've looked up to since I was young. You know, like almost every band I'm in has ripped off Davidian or something. You know, it's like, I mean, it's like they're like the perfect band. And like it's still inspiring people for generations, you know, and so it was really awesome that he was down and everything. He wrote his whole part, really invested in the song, you know. Devin from Bog, you know, we came up at the same time. You know, we were
Yeah,
putting
sure.
music out about pretty much the same time, you know,
Same
and we
label
toured
too.
together, and yeah, it's just like, you know, we're friends and we always will be. And I think we've always wanted Devin on a song, but like we just never really felt like our songs were heavy enough to like really do Devin justice. And on this record, we finally feel like we had a song heavy enough to give Devin like, you know, the room to talk that shit, you know, and whatnot. And Gerard, you know, we met Gerard a few years ago, through his friend and security guy who was a fan of ours, and we got invited to come out to their show at American Airlines Center, and we got to meet him, and you know, Power Trip was there, and Devil Master actually played the show, so we had a ton of friends there, and you know, we got to meet him, and he was super down to earth and cool. And then after that, we traded numbers, and we just kind of stayed in touch and talked about, you know, synth and John Carpenter, just different things, you know, and then whatnot. And then he came to our show when we played with Napalm Death in L.A. And he was with Sarah from Youth Code, and she's actually the one that showed him Frozen Soul in the Crypt of Ice days, and I didn't even know that until recently when me and him were talking. I thought his security guy showed him us, and so yeah, we've kept in touch and whatnot. And then, you know, when we're like thinking like if we're gonna do like features on this record, like, you know, who would we want? And so, you know, we had, you know, who we had in mind, but you know, just thought like, I wonder if Gerard would sing on the record, you know. And it's funny because like I mean, I kind of just didn't think he would do it, you know. Like I didn't think as someone of his caliber of like, you know, creativity and you know whatnot, even could waste their time with this death metal band from Texas, you know. But he messaged me back quickly and was like, "I'm down," and you know, he didn't want us to pay him or anything. You know, it was just like a very cool thing that he wanted to be a part of, and you know, it was amazing, you know. And we joked around about stuff, and you know, talked about the song, and you know, he recorded it and recorded like some extra stuff too, and then we ended up putting that in the song because it's like we had to, you know. It's like it was really awesome, and we felt like it added a whole new layer to the song that we weren't really expecting to be there, with those style of vocals. And you know, I mean, the truth is like, you know, he's somebody that's done like everything, you know, from movies and shows and comics, and you know, inspired generations of musicians and kids. And you know, it's just like it's cool and rare in life to just do something because it's fun, and like because it's something that just doesn't get to happen very often, and to say that Gerard's on a death metal song is cool for him, and it's cool for us. It's just cool, and he was just down to do something cool, and we talked about that and whatnot. But yeah, it was super easy with everybody. It was truly awesome, and yeah, so
I'll tell you, when we checked out the song, I honestly thought he was going to go with clean vocals.
I
I was
mean,
a little bit shocked that he went with those heavy vocals because I was like, wow, like this is not the
yeah.
direction that I thought the song was going to go. I thought you guys were going to shock the world and have some clean vocals on a track.
I mean, honestly, like when he was asking me about like what I was kind of thinking with the song and stuff, like he was very thoughtful about everything. Like he wasn't just like send me this and I'll just do this or whatever. It was very
Collaborative.
like collaborative and human and awesome, and and really showed me even more about how much of a good dude he is. And he asked me like for vocal style, and I just told him to do whatever. Really, I mean, I wasn't about to tell Gerard Way to, no man, you got to do death metal vocals. I mean, I mentioned like, I would love to hear you do, harsh vocals. Like do whatever. I'm down to hear different things. Like, the more the better. So yeah, I was surprised at first, but then I wasn't, because he did like some black metal vocals with Matt Heafy's other project, Aberaki,
Hmm.
that song Ronin, and I didn't even think about that until like after it was already done, and then I was like, wait, didn't he? I feel like I've heard this before, and then I'm like, or not heard it, but heard that he's done it before, and then I remember like Matt told me about it, and whatnot, and I listened to it a few years ago. So yeah, I mean, like it was wild to get that back, because I felt like after hearing like the recording the way we had it, and hearing like harsh my vocals the whole time, it was like a little jarring at first. I was like, whoa, but then like it's like my brain caught up and was like, man, this is like cool, because it's just like different, and it's like it creates a whole other layer to the song, and when it hits you, it's like you're paying attention, um, and that it's there's been a great response to it so far. I mean, we've had like some crazy stuff, crazy response as far as like wild conspiracy theories and all sorts of stuff. It's just like
My son was like,
really
these guys
funny.
must have broken the bank to get him on the
Oh,
track.
dude,
But
there's
then I
no
found
bank
out
to
that
break. I'll tell you that.
yeah, but then I found out there was no money exchange, just good friends working together.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. I mean,
that's very rare these days in the
yeah,
music business, especially when it comes to heavy music. I want to ask you something. There's two questions that I really want to ask you, but I'm going to go with this one first. I've seen you guys live pretty much since the beginning. You guys have played Toronto a bunch of times, so
yeah.
I've seen you develop as a band in front of my eyes. Especially you as a front man, you've gotten better and better and better every single time that I see you. The whole band, but you specifically as a front man. Is touring and playing live the only way you can build those chops that you can become the front man that you currently are?
I think like, I mean, like really, I can only speak from like my perspective. I feel like yes, like the only way I could have gotten, I remember there was like a very specific moment that things changed for me. And it was actually when we did the tour with Black Dahlia Murder, with the poster that's behind me. Like we did a tour with them in Terror, and one of the first like more underground shows I ever went to when I was younger was a Black Dahlia Murder Terror show with Unearth, and it was a crazy moment for me to be able to watch like Terror every night, and then I started doing the corpse grinder part in one of Terror's songs, and it was just a moment where like I felt like so alive and so much more confident. Like watching a master frontman like Scott Vogel command the crowd and just be so positive, but like so powerful at the same time. Like it just was awesome. And so I don't know, that changed like everything at that moment. And I was like, I gotta like do more. Like I gotta say more, I gotta be more, like I gotta be like myself and have fun and not and it's not like I wasn't necessarily already like hyping people up and stuff because I've always kind of done that, but like I just kind of took it to a new level. And I don't feel like without touring and stuff, like I could have really figured that out for myself. But that's not to say that like, someone that's like wanting to be the singer of a band or something can't watch videos and go to shows and live that shit and not be like, this is what I'm going to do. Because we have people from like, and kids from our like, town and stuff that are in bands that like, I just know they could just be superstars, just because like they are just like so energetic and awesome. And so I think you could totally do it without it. But for me, I'm just like dumb. So I need like to get hit in the face with it to really like see it, and so for me, yeah, totally. I gotta tour and see it, and it's really helped me a lot feel more comfortable to try new things and not be worried like, nah, nobody wants to see me jump around because they don't want to see my tits flying everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it's like I mean like that's the kind of stuff someone like me who's not confident in myself and has struggled with like that kind of stuff my whole life. That's what I say, to myself. So it keeps me from doing stuff. And I think playing more shows and getting into that, like being thrown to the wolves and just being like, well, it really doesn't matter what I think or they think or whatever. It just matters of what happens. Cause like I'm gonna get made fun of regardless, so I might as well just be the biggest idiot in the room, if I already am, so I think I need the touring to make it happen, but no, I don't think someone has to do it to make that,
I always tell Raymond from 200 Stab Wounds that he's my animal spirit because that guy exudes confidence. I mean, I don't know any other dude that would go on stage, no shirt, just a vest, rock the guitar like the way he does. I'm like, man, that guy's got the sauce. Whatever that sauce is, that dude has a ton of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I feel you. Like I've always been a bigger dude myself and struggle with that self-confidence or lack of for that matter.
yeah.
And so so if for you being in front of a big crowd, it must be make things even more difficult if you're not really sure of who you are and where you belong. The other question that I really have to ask you is being a band from Texas, releasing a song, anti-ice song, did you guys think that, maybe we're going to get some slack for this, but we really believe in what we're talking about and we're going to do it anyway?
Yeah, I mean, we knew we were gonna catch some shit. I mean, that's just like what happens. I mean, especially in metal, like we knew that there was gonna be people that that kind of are it's a combination of like people that support that stuff and then there's some people that don't even it's not even that they support it, it's that they just like don't want to hear about it, because they are hearing a lot about it and they're worried about themselves, which is like fair to some extent, but like we have friends and family that are being affected, and it's like it's one of those things that like you have to let your stance be known at a certain point. And for us, it was like an incident that kind of happened at our in our like fan page, where someone was trying to raise money for someone, and they were catching a lot of flack for it. And it was just kind of like, oh, so like this is what we're doing, like we're like cutting people down and stuff, like for trying to help others and stuff. No, we're not doing that. And so Michael made a post in there, and like we made it known, and we didn't want to sit there and like put a pre-order for the record out or any of that stuff. Like it's just we just put a song out, that's it. This is what we got to say. And definitely
Takes balls, dude. Takes
definitely
balls. Let me tell you, these
definitely
days.
stirred the pot, I'll tell you that. I wasn't really expecting it to be like that, but like I mean, yeah, dude, we were getting messages from like cops and stuff, like all sorts of shit, and we are just like, okay, well, like, don't listen to us then. I don't know what to tell you, man. What? I mean, what are we doing here? Like, what's the point of this message? I've even had some people like come back and message and apologize actually, you know, and say that they are sorry for, for lashing out and they were wrong, and they found more information out, and it's a crazy world, man. But yeah, we caught a lot of stuff. There was a lot of hate, a lot of really mean stuff said to me and Sam, you know, just like a lot of just ridiculous stuff, But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like what you gotta expect, when you stand for something,
I agree
arrogance
with
and
you.
things.
I mean, I really applaud you guys for saying your piece, saying how you feel. It's not easy these days. A lot of people rather not say anything, afraid of losing a fan here or a fan there, or one less person buying a ticket or a t-shirt. But if you don't stand for something, you end up falling for everything. So
Yeah.
I honestly, I applaud you guys for taking that stand, because it takes courage these days to take any stand for that matter. That kind of goes against the grain. It takes a lot of courage. So I
Yeah.
applaud you guys for doing what you guys did. And the song, by the way, kicked ass. So you did it in the best way possible. And I honestly feel like you guys are probably a little bit Canadian because you're obsessed with cold. No place of warmth, encased in ice, frozen soul. Like, is there some Canadian roots in the band?
I do love Canada, man. I don't know. Like, we do love Canada, so maybe, but no, I don't think so. It's a weird thing, man. Like, it started as just kind of like a joke, Like we came up with the name. We like, we're fans of, showmanship, bands that have production and stuff like that, and we're a big fan of movies and practical effects and stuff like that. So it's like, we're gonna try to do the best, most fun thing, and what is that? Capitalizing on whatever your band name is, and ours just happened to have Frozen in it. So, but it's like, the roots of the music are very much so like based in the cold reality of life and getting older, and not understanding that like you're not the person you used to be, and the person that you were before that, and the person that you were before that, and that with every like thing that happens to you in your life, you become a different version of yourself. And it's like you're constantly trying to remember who you were and who you are, because you have so much stuff you have to adapt to constantly. And it never gets easier, and the problems only get worse. And, there's a lot of learning and growing that you have to do. And it's like our music is all about like that battle you have to have. And it's like sometimes it's pointed in the direction of like killing this like person that killed your family, or revenge on this or whatever. It's done in typically a pretty general way so that somebody can use it as like, their theme song, their walkout music, as if they're a wrestler going to fight the biggest bout of their life. And it's like that's how I listened to music when I was a kid. you know I wasn't necessarily worshiping like band members, and didn't have the ability to look stuff up and read lyrics, and I was given CDs and like just heard the radio and was recording it on a tape, and I would hear little words and make my own meaning up, and it would be the meaning of like whatever I needed it to be to get through my shitty situation and feel like I was the hero in my story when I didn't have one, you know? So it's like we write the music to be that way, whether it's you're just trying to have fun, or whether you're getting through some real heavy shit or whatever. And that's why we keep our music pretty simple and straight to the point. And I think like there's a lot to say about how cold a person can be, and how cold like sometimes you have to be, and it's like something that's very fitting for the band, and it was never really intended to the band was never intended to be about that, but that's kind of metal and aggressive music in general. It's self-expression, it's comfort, it's a way to let out that aggressive issue inside in a positive way. And it's why we listen to this shit,
Mhm.
so it really is in the identity of the genre of music, but it's also just about fun and getting away and having a good time. So, yeah, it's crazy. We get asked that a lot about the cold and stuff, but, my answer is always like, it always starts off with, well, like, yeah, we got to do the ice puns and stuff, but then, like, there's the deeper side to it, but we try to mask it all with just like, this is heavy shit to have fun to, you know? It's,
And
I guess,
and
the
and
best way to sum it up.
And going to the concerts is definitely a great way to have fun. Chad, I want to thank you for taking the time to chat with me about Frozen Soul, No Place of Warmth. Once again, out May 8th on Century Media. All I can say is go get the record, but if you have an opportunity to see you guys live, buy a ticket, go to the show. You're gonna get more than your money's worth. I've seen you guys every single time you've came to Toronto. I can never say that I've left disappointed or felt cheated. You guys
Oh,
give
yeah.
it 110% every performance, kick ass from everybody on that stage. And it's a fucking great time and a great show to go to. So continue touring, continue doing your thing, man. You guys are the best. Thank you very much for the time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Always good to see you.